and just work like hell and just have to put in 80 to 100 hour weeks every week. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
You're CEO of 2 companies, you're chairman of Solar City. Talk about time management. How on earth do you do this? You get any sleep?
Yeah, sometimes not enough. Sleep is really great, because I find if I don't get enough sleep, then I'm quite grumpy. I mean, obviously, I think most people are that way. And also, I try to sort of figure out what's the right amount of sleep, because I found I could have drop below a certain threshold of sleep, and although I'd be awake more hours and I could sustain it, I would get less done because mental acuity would be affected. I found generally the right number for me is around 6 to 6.5 hours on average per night.
Right. Any other tips on just managing to run 2 companies simultaneously? I mean, I know you're up here Monday, Tuesday. Is it all Tesla when you're up in Silicon Valley and all SpaceX Wednesday, Thursday?
Having a smartphone is incredibly helpful, because that means you can do email during interstitial periods, like you're in a car, you're walking, in the bathroom, everywhere. You can do email practically when you're awake. So that's really helpful to have email for SpaceX and Tesla integrated on my phone. And then you have to apply a lot of hours to actually working. So the way I generally do it is I'll be working at SpaceX on Monday, and then Monday night fly to the Bay Area, and Tuesday, Wednesday at the Bay Area at Tesla, and then fly back on Wednesday night, and Thursday and Friday at SpaceX. In the last several months, then I would fly back here on a Saturday. I'd either spend Saturday and Sunday at Tesla, or spend Saturday at Tesla and Sunday at SpaceX.
And where do the boys fit in? You have 5 sons. Do they tag along with Dad on some of these trips?
I do drag them along in a lot of things, actually. They're remarkably unimpressed. I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? That is a really difficult thing to tell. Can you tell the difference between those 2 things? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. All those things improve the odds of success. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. When my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just 1 computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So work hard like every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
One of the, I think, most common questions I hear ambitious young people ask is, I want to be the next Elon Musk. How do I do that? Obviously, the next Elon Musk will work on very different things than you did, but what have you done, or what did you do when you were younger that you think sort of set you up to have a big impact?
First of all, I should say that I did not expect to be involved in all these things. The 5 things that I thought about I'm in college quite a long time ago, 25 years ago, making life multiplanetary, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, the internet, broadly speaking, and then genetics and AI. I think I didn't expect to be involved in all of those things. I actually, at the time in college, I sort of thought helping with electrification of cars was how I would start out. That's actually what I worked on as an intern, was advanced ultracapacitors, to see if there would be a breakthrough relative to batteries or energy storage in cars. And then when I came out to go to Stanford, that's what I was going to be doing my grad studies on, was working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric cars. And then I put that on hold to start an internet company in '95, because there does seem to be like a time for particular technologies when they're at a steep point in the inflection curve. And I didn't want to, do a PhD at Stanford and watch it all happen. And I wasn't entirely certain that technology I'd be working on would actually succeed. You can get a doctorate on many things that ultimately do not have a practical bearing on the world. And I wanted to, I really was just trying to be useful. That's the optimization. It's like, what can I do that would actually be useful?
Do you think people that want to be useful today should get PhDs?
Mostly not.
So what is the best way to be useful?
Some yes, but mostly not.
How should someone figure out how they can be most useful.
Whatever this thing is that you're trying to create, what would be the utility delta compared to the current state of the art times how many people it would affect? So that's why I think having something that makes a big difference but affects a sort of small to moderate number of people is great, as is something that makes even a small difference but affects a vast number of people. So it's actually really about just trying to be useful. And
when you're trying to estimate probability of success, so you say this thing will be really useful, I guess to use the example of SpaceX, when you made the go decision that you were actually going to do that, this was kind of a very crazy thing at the time.
Very crazy. But I kind of agreed with them that it was quite crazy. Crazy if the objective was to achieve the best risk-adjusted return, starting a rocket company is insane.
How do you spend your days now?
My time is mostly split between SpaceX and Tesla, and of course I try to spend a lot of every week at OpenAI. So I spend basically half a day at OpenAI most weeks, and then I have some OpenAI stuff that happens during the week.
And what do you do when you're at SpaceX or Tesla? Like, what does your time look like there?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think a lot of people think I must spend a lot of time with media or on businessy things, but actually almost all my time, like 80% of it is spent on engineering and design. And so it's developing next generation product. That's 80% of it.
You probably don't remember this. A very long time ago, many years, you took me on a tour of SpaceX, and the most impressive thing was that you knew every detail of the rocket and every piece of engineering that went into it. I don't think many people get that about you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think I'm kind of a business person or something, which is fine. Like, business is fine, but really it's like at SpaceX, Wynne Shotwell is chief operating officer. She kind of manages legal, finance, sales, and kind of general business activity. And then my time is almost entirely with the engineering team, working on improving the Falcon 9 and the Dragon spacecraft and developing the Mars colonial architecture. And then at Tesla, it's working on the Model 3 and some in the design studio, dealing with aesthetics and look and feel things. And then most of the rest of the week is just going through engineering of the car itself, as well as engineering of the factory.